XRP finally declared not a security, and Coinbase halts some stablecoin trading. Question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader, here on another Sunday Fun Day, and we have a special guest. First of all, let me kick it off. Crusader, how are you doing today, brother?
What's going on, man? I'm excited for another Sunday, bro. I mean, we got lots to talk about this week, and
yes, we do.
Got a good guest coming on tonight.
Super excited. We haven't had her on for a while. We were on the other day around the blockchain. I said, Miss Teen Crypto, Randy, you got to come on. Here she is. Randy, how are you?
I am chilling. I am here for you guys. Thank you so much for having me yet again. And I'm happy to see everyone in the audience, just saying hello to them as well.
Heck yeah. Let's actually start it off. Let's kick into the chat. Let me see. Now, sometimes chat, full disclosure, I don't see the very first one, but on my end, the first person is Alex S. said, howdy, folks. Alex, howdy. Glad you are here. Dave Digital in the house. We've got Kenton, as always. Green Day Profits. You were on a 3-day streak, brother. You just lost your streak unless I missed it. If so, I apologize. Glad to see everybody here. Let's kick it off. Let's look at the markets. We'll start there. It's been kind of a wild week, as many of you know, and then we'll dive on into all the articles. Let me pull this up right quick. All right. So the global crypto market cap, let me update this in case it's off, is 1.06 trillion with the T dollars. That's down 0.32%. Bitcoin hanging tough at $26,099. Whoop, just jumped over to 26.1. Here comes the bull run. ETH is at 1670. Yeah, running on through. You know what it does. The only thing that's moved up even kind of substantially, which we're going to talk about today, Crusader's favorite. He's been buying. Don't let him tell you any different. XRP up 3.53%. Crusader, how you feeling about that big move there, brother?
Oh, dude, I mean, it's only been 5 years. That 3% is well deserved at this point.
We have the number one hater of all of XRP here on the show today, live, your boy BlockchainCrusader. All right, cool. Hey, Crusader, do you want to pop off any TA, or are we going to dive right in since we got a bunch of articles? You call it.
No, we got a bunch of articles, so let's hit that. I mean, right. TA-wise, we're pretty much the same spot, right? Bitcoin's lost that level of support, and we're headed kind of down right now to that 26K, and if we don't hold this, we're probably in trouble for some 20K.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. Let me ask before we get into the articles, Randy. We've been talking for a while that we were expecting to feel some pain. Was this expected for you? Or were you kind of thinking we were going to see a little bit of a jump before we saw the dump? Do you have any thoughts on what we've been seeing?
As far as I'm concerned, none of this is pain. I'm sorry, but like Bitcoin used to have 10% plus moves in a day. So like when it has like a little bit of a pullback, people are like, oh my gosh, the bull market's over, or didn't even start, or the bear market's still in full play. Oh my gosh. Like, let's not be dramatic, man. Let's like look for the long-term perspective. Every time Bitcoin goes down 75, 80+%, always goes back up and surpasses its previous all-time high. So as far as I'm concerned with the price action we've had, let's say year to date, up almost 70, 80+% year to date, that's good. We literally had started off like, November to January last year or this year, 15K. Now look at where we are. To have a pullback from 30.5 after having that nice run up is normal. Sideways trading washes out all these lettuce hands that aren't full on diamond hands yet. So I'm not worried. I think this is fine. I think people just like get too shook.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. My wife and I were actually having a conversation. We were talking about, having dry powder on hand. And one of the things recently that as we see these drops, I keep wanting to be able to continue to put money in. But at some point, right, for most people, for the average person, now maybe some of you in the chat are just flush with cash all the time. Congratulations for you. Keep stacking, keep doing your thing. That's not always the case for everybody, right? And I made a comment to my wife. She's been asking about finishing the basement. And I said, I was thinking about you the other day. And she was like, okay, well, that's nice. What do you got? And I was like, a lot of these companies that we have a company that does loans for my construction company that does loans for people to be able to do some of these big projects. And I said, might be a good idea. Maybe I could take one of those loans and buy some Bitcoin. And she was like, How does that have anything to do with me? You've been buying Bitcoin forever, and I haven't seen any of it. And I said, no, hold on. I'm so confident in what Bitcoin's going to do that what if we did take a small loan, 1 or 2 Bitcoin worth, and just sat on it? And then once we double up, once we triple up, whatever the number that we set with that game plan is, what if I sold that Bitcoin and I finished the basement? She said, I'm in. So, we'll see what happens. Just kind of an idea, but I'm with you, Randy. We believe in the long-term thesis that is Bitcoin. Crusader's on board with that too. I mean, Crusader, you had a story when you first started with Bitcoin. You did indeed take a loan to do it, didn't you?
Yeah, I took out a $16,000 loan when I first started back in 2018. Bought my first Bitcoin with it, and then I bought a portion of the $16,000 loan went to my first Bitcoin, and then the rest went into altcoins. And from there, I just started dollar cost averaging for the rest of the time. So obviously, it's painful, right? Because I got in in 2018, thinking, oh, this thing is just going to keep going, not knowing anything about the markets. And obviously, it was nothing but down for the next 3 years, and I was paying a loan on top of that. So it sucked. But then as I learned more and more, it paid out. I actually do have a little bit of TA here. I can show you guys real quick, and then we can jump in.
Let's check it out
so that you can visualize what I was saying earlier. So basically, as you guys can see here, this is the level I was talking about to you guys last time I did TA, which was the 29,000 we need to hold, right? This regression trend that we're in. We've fallen out of the regression trend, but we've fallen out before. So the range value area here for the low is 24,413, give or take, for this year. So if we fall out of this range, I would be looking for this next level here. I don't have it marked, but it's about this 20,000 all the way to maybe possibly 19,600. This low right here would be the next level of support to look out for. If not, we're heading down, right? So we got a 6-month support level over here of 16,000. And from there, we're going back to the 14, 15. I don't think we're going to hit as low as this. I don't think this is going to pay out this 20,000. I think we might hold here, but obviously I could be wrong. But yeah, if we lose 24, look out for 20 because we're headed down.
Yeah, for sure. This past week I was talking about the pain that we got into or felt. What is my hold on a second. My computer's doing something funky. Crusader, you might have to.
You got me frozen over here, dude.
Do I? What is going on?
I can't move the screen.
I can't move the screen either. I don't know what's going on. All right. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, cool.
Hey.
Sorry about that. My bad. Keeper, that was a boomer moment. I'm sure I did something stupid, and here we are. Okay, I'm not 40 yet, but some would call me a boomer, so it is what it is. So I was talking about the pain earlier this week. Let's start off with that. It is some pain, but I'm telling you right now, for everybody in here, it's good for you. If the moment that you can start to not have to check your phone in the middle of the night, what's Bitcoin's exact price? Where's ETH at? Like, it will take a level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, stress off of your plate if the long-term thesis for you as that we are going up and to the right, which I do believe that it is. But we did have over $1 billion. Crypto traders hit by $1.04 billion in liquidations amid tense market volatility. It said crypto traders on centralized exchanges were liquidated to the tune of more than $1 billion amid yesterday's market volatility. The DeFi sector was also hit with much more at risk should the price of Ether further decline. So I'm not going to dive into the article. I want to ask you this, Randy. We kind of started talking about this at the start of the stream. When Bitcoin's price action is so volatile, we end up getting news articles that come out as if like SpaceX dumped the price and all of these big companies are making this happen. Tell the people why it's a bunch of fugazi, why that in fact is almost never, it happens, but why that is almost never the case.
It's almost never the case because you never see the receipts. Let's just throw that out there. They're always like, oh, this one's selling this one's selling that. Give me the blockchain transaction, and let's hash it out that way. 2, it doesn't matter if they buy, it doesn't matter if they sell, because a lot of the time it's OTC. So it doesn't really even hit the market. It's just people get scared by hearing the news, and then they're lettuce handing and hitting the sell button. But then again, it gives you a chance to jump in and buy the dip. So either way, it's all psychology. That's what the charts are at the end of the day. Is just the general psyche of the public. What's everyone thinking? What's everyone doing? It's just emotion based. So if you take your emotions out of it and say, hey, okay, so basically if I've been dollar cost averaging since the last May or June, Bitcoin is still the same price, but yet I caught Bitcoin when it was 15.5 in November to January. So I accumulated the dip, taking my emotions out of it, and still I made some profits on the year to date chart. and I'm still chilling. So don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Like all of it's news, all of it's FUD just to get you worried. If you know what you're doing, then you wouldn't be worried. If you know that institutions are coming in, blockchain is being built in terms of infrastructure in different ways all around the world, then you wouldn't worry about Bitcoin price today. It's just so
Yeah.
silly.
For sure. Crusader, talk to me about how you utilize talk to me about how you like to utilize the news. We all kind of pay attention to it. You know, mainstream political news, obviously that's just a bunch of propaganda at this point. But when it comes to our dollars, they can propagandize that as well. What's a way that maybe somebody coming into crypto can pay attention to the news and get some good information while still using, you know, their brain and to make good decisions as it relates to the markets?
Yeah, man. When it comes to the news, you got to be very careful and very selective on what news you're reading and what you're paying attention to. The news, when I first started, right, was kind of all over the place. I was now not as bad, right? Not as many publications and places to go, but you really need to filter out a lot, and you need to learn, right? So you got to use the news to learn about what's really happening, right? BlackRock ETF news. That's some important news to be paying attention to. You have to go learn what an ETF is. Who's BlackRock, right? Why are they interested? What is their track record looking like? But then when you start hearing news about this person selling that, you know, none of that news is actually important because that's only short-term news, right? That's for clickbaits, right? That's for getting views in the moment, helps with content creation, but it's not really helpful for you and your portfolio long-term if you're a dollar cost averaging person, right? Maybe if you're a trader, it might help you in a short trade at the moment, right? Trade some emotions, but you got to really be paying attention and learning from hardcore long-term news of what's actually being built in the space, who's getting involved, and you know what companies are doing, but not the price action news, not the news of, you know, like they said, you know, maybe SpaceX is selling all their Bitcoin or whatever, or sold a portion of their Bitcoin. Even if they did, even if that's true, that's only short term. They're a company, they need some cash, some capital. At later's point, back in the next bull market, you're gonna hear how they bought back in and how great that is, right? So it's really not that important when you hear news like that. Just pay attention to the real fundamental news on low liquidity of Bitcoin, you know, on exchanges, things like that. That's a lot more important.
Yeah, and I think one other thing to say is that the news will be used against us. Crusader and I, Misty and Crypto, we could go on right now, and we get offers to do this, right? We could go on and pay Decrypt or any of these companies, you know, newsflash to anybody that's, you know, didn't know this. We can pay to have an article, you know, produced, right? It's just a fact. We can pay for it. So we're going to talk about NFTs here in a second. It's
They're
not
so
that crazy.
expensive too. Like
right.
it's so expensive, and it just shows you like if the media is influenced at this level, then imagine what it is at the mainstream level with bigger players.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, with the NFT markets, obviously they've really simmered down recently, but we got some big news we're about to hit on with that. But as an example, you know, if we would have wanted to spend the money to do it, we could have jumped on Decrypt and let everybody know about, you know, DCA fam, we're here, we're the top dog in all the NFT space. Pump, 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 pump. It's advertising dollars, ladies and gentlemen. So pay attention to what you are reading, and you got to read through those lines because it really is important to pay attention because you absolutely can be tripped up as well. All right. So speaking of NFTs, first of all, smash that like if you haven't already. Randy, let me ask you before we get into the NFTs, do you have anything going on that all the people need to know about? Make sure you're following Miss T and Crypto, put on the bell notifications, do all of that. But do you have anything going on that we don't know about or the people don't know about?
As far as things going on, I have the Daily Zest live weekdays at 9:45 a.m. I talk about charts, news, videos. I show you everything you need to know. We really dive deep into the news versus just like pulling up the news of the day. Like I'll show you like why it happened and what's connected to it, which will fall down one of those rabbit holes today with MasterCard. So just the daily podcast, the Missing Crypto Show is also live besides my podcast as well. And I'm everywhere at Missing Crypto. I tweet daily and I make sure I produce content on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere you are, I am as well. So just check out my podcast and just hang out.
Definitely. And keep it zesty, right? Isn't
Zesty.
that zesty? That's right. That's right. So Mark Cuban and Yuga Labs lead backlash over OpenSea's NFT royalties change. OpenSea investor Mark Cuban expressed disappointment in the marketplace's move as creators plot potential boycotts and restrictions. Touch on a small part of this. It says Mark Cuban and the Bored Ape Yacht Club creator Yuga Labs are among the major players speaking out Friday against NFT trading platform OpenSea over the company's Thursday announcement that it intends to sunset enforcement of creator royalties. It said not collecting and paying royalties on NFT sales is a huge mistake by OpenSea, Cuban, the billionaire tech entrepreneur, wrote on Twitter on Friday. It diminished trust in the platform and hurts the industry. So let me kick it off with you, Randy. What do you think about royalties as it relates to NFTs? Good thing, bad thing? Is this stupid of OpenSea to do, or is it a good idea? What do you think?
It's a terrible idea. I don't know. For me, the whole platform was about empowering creators, and what I loved about NFTs, and I do have an NFT collection. It's mostly on Wax blockchain, but I still have some on Ethereum. So you guys could check that out on my website as well, missteamcrypto.com. I love NFTs because I felt like with Bitcoin, you're able to be your own bank. But with NFTs, you're also able to be your own store, be your own record label, be your own art gallery where no one has to approve of you and say, hey, your work is worthy for me to list on my music platform or in my physical gallery. You're able to put yourself on a global stage. And those royalties really do help the creator once you buy that piece from them and it gets resold. Something that's missed out on in the physical world is that royalty when a piece is resold. So now that comes back into play with digital art. And I think that really keeps a lot of these projects going so they can fulfill their roadmaps, which I think they should really have funding for a lot of that stuff anyway. However, I think that OpenSea should be about empowering the creators. That's why we're in crypto. And that's why I love minting NFTs. So that way I could continuously be supported by the people that like my work. And why shouldn't I be supported? Why shouldn't artists be supported? Why shouldn't people have direct lines and bridge that gap between a creator or a company or a label in their community?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. So OpenSea, bad move, man.
Yeah,
That's
no, I totally agree. I want to get your take on this, Crusader. Crusader, I know what your overall thesis on this is. So talk to me about why you think royalties in the NFT space are so important as you look at it.
Man, it's just, it's one of the things that really keeps the train going, right? As creators, because if not for the royalties, then you've constantly got to be minting new NFTs in your collections to keep going, right? Which dilutes if you're trying to build a collection, if you're trying to build a game, a metaverse, you're trying to, whatever it is you're trying to do with your community and in the NFT space, if you got to constantly tell them to go buy more of new collections that you're dropping to maintain yourself and maintain the project going, it starts to dilute itself. Meanwhile, in the royalties, right, you have one hardcore collection, right, whether it's 5,000 or 10,000, and anyone that's in there, you are part of this elite club, right, of whether it's 10,000 or, like I said, 5,000. You're part of it, and if you want to get in, you sell, right? The people that get in early, the buyers that get in early buy multiples. They get to sell later on as the community grows and becomes empowered, right? So they get to also profit on that, right, and make money. And then the creator gets royalties from all that trading volume, which helps the project keep going with the roadmap, like Ms. Team Crypto said. With the royalties being gone, that literally is no longer the direction the projects are going to go. They're going to have to continuously be minting more and more collections. So then the people that are buying early might never actually be selling at higher prices later because they're going to have to be buying into another collection. And that just is the wrong way to go about NFTs. And like Miss Team Crypto said, right, in the real world, there's not a lot of royalties when it involves selling any type of merchandise. I know you're going to talk about music, right? Music royalties, take that away. Why are the music industry people jumping into NFTs? Because of the royalties. Now that goes away. Why would they want to do NFTs? I think it's just a bad taste in everybody's mouth once these kind of things start getting implemented into crypto, especially since crypto is supposed to be this, Web3 space of freedom for you to be able to do what you want. And now these platforms are putting these type of rules on you and literally affecting your bottom line as a project.
Yeah, I was going to touch on music. A lot of you know that I love music, and I think it allows some of these artists to be able to step away from these huge production companies. It allows them to literally make their own music, profit off their own music, and then make decisions to be able to, it allows them to continue the flow on their own and not have to be controlled by somebody else. Isn't that the reason that a lot of us got into blockchain to begin with, right? Yeah. We wanted to be able to be our own bank, make our own decisions, and continue that process. That's literally exactly what's happening here. And, you can look over at something like Shark Tank. Mr. Wonderful always, if you've ever watched Shark Tank, he's always looking for a royalty deal, right? Why is he looking for a royalty deal? Because it is profitable and it allows someone to continue doing something effectively in perpetuity, assuming that that asset continues to do well, that it continues to move. And so I also like what you just said on that, Crusader, that you then, if you take that away, you have to effectively flood the market. Now supply and demand just absolutely thins out because there's no real incentive for the company to continue to try to press on selling those old items. So all they can do, you're right, is just continue to produce. And at some point, it's just like, what is this? Mint number 6,492? Like, I'm just not, not super interested in it.
I mean, that's why like I like to diversify with blockchains as well, and make sure that like, that's why I really loved Wax, because that was never a problem, and that it was cheaper too as well to buy and sell NFTs. When I think we really look at the space, we're so early. Like, these are digital artifacts when you really think about it. The NFTs we're producing now, these Bored Apes, or even what I've done, just like art of like my likeness, just doing random things, or even just a regular piece of art, photography, music. These are all digital artifacts, and they're so early that the NFT technology is okay right now. It's not at its peak. So I think eventually we're going to be able to enforce these royalties on a smart contract level, which I don't believe is done right now. And that's why we have to use something like an OpenSea, because we need that, I guess, feature to be added for us, when I think in the future that's not going to have to be a thing. And someone else will come up with it. It's going to be there. We're just really early. So I'd stick around.
I don't know if I can fully mention the name here, Crusader, but you and I are involved in something that's coming out here before too long that's going to be doing just exactly what Randy was saying. So just throwing it out there. We will be talking about it as we get into the end of this year, start of next year, when we get to go ahead to talk about it, because it is important. We need a big player to compete with the likes of OpenSea. We need to be able to, it's just like DeFi, right? DeFi is the opportunity to do things without that massive centralized, authority in there, or we can make different decisions for ourselves. And so I think that it also kind of to the icing on the cake is that it allows creators to be creative in the way that they do whatever it is, whether it's music, whether it's art, whatever it may be. It incentivizes them that, hey, if I do the best job I can possibly do right now, this will continue to flow over time and I will be rewarded for it. And others too can be rewarded as well. I just think it's a model that absolutely works. I don't know why they would take it away. Do either of you know like what the thought process was for them to even step away from it?
The scalpers.
What do you mean, Randy?
That it's because people they get all twisted, because they're like, oh, that's why Blur was such a big thing when Blur came out. Is because they were like, oh yeah, we don't have to enforce royalties. And then the greedy people that just want to trade and flip, they were like, oh, I want to give like some royalties to this dude. I'd rather have no royalties, get as much as I can and sell it. So that's the whole thing. It's the scalpers. And you know what? If they have the ability to do it, then technically, because it's blockchain and you could create anything, they could do it. They could just get around the royalties and create something like Blur, which their airdrop.
Wah. Yeah, we saw.
It was another phase, and people still went back to OpenSea because it's easier to use. But still, people wanted those royalties, which is why people stayed with OpenSea. Now they're ditching it again because they realize they have that market share back from Blur, and they're not a threat anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it'll be really interesting to watch how this plays out. I think that we will see another run in NFTs. I think people will continue to creatively, put out NFTs. I think we're going to see tokenization of, damn near everything. We've talked about NFTs being our IDs. We've talked about it being our the deed for our homes, medical stuff down the road. All of that in a business sense will happen. So this is kind of the creative side of it. How do they continue to keep that ball rolling? So we'll keep an eye on it, and we will.
Centralization, dude. That's the thing about these platforms are making these rules because they're centralized, right? So like we need more decentralized, just how we have a Uniswap where people can list a token and put their own liquidity in there and then it gets put on the market. They should have something similar. I don't know if they do already, for the NFT market as well. That's decentralized. You create your collection. There's nobody making rules on the platform, and you're selling your thing on whatever royalties, whether you want to have 0 royalties or you want to have whatever royalties, and let the people decide. Let the market decide what they want to buy and what they want to be part of.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that a lot. We kind of shifting gears just a little bit here. A lot of you have heard that Crusader and I are trying to finish button up a Bitcoin mining deal. So we're going to talk about mining real quick. I'm interested to see what the thought process on this is. So chat, first of all, if you haven't smashed the like already, fix that problem. Secondly, if you're not already following Miss Teen Crypto, her link is down below the stream. So make sure you do that and turn on the bell notifications so that you know, hey, she's on, so that you know we are on. So make sure to do that, right now if you could. All right, cool. Let's talk about a little bit of Bitcoin mining. This is something that is near and dear to our hearts. And I'm interested to see if this is something that maybe we could possibly use. If I could find the article, here it is. All right. Here we go. AI mining method for Bitcoin increases reward chance by 260% by calculating future blocks. Okay, let's talk about it a little bit. There is a notable breakthrough in Bitcoin mining. UK-based Quantum Blockchain Technologies has developed a highly promising computing method, the message scheduling for cryptographic hashing, MSFCA, designed to make Bitcoin mining significantly more efficient. The CEO of QBT, I'm going to butcher his name, Francesco Jardine, maybe, defined it in its July patent application as a radical change that disrupts the fundamental Bitcoin blockchain paradigm. The new concept behind the idea disrupts, under special conditions, the fundamental Bitcoin blockchain paradigm. Computation for future blocks can take place before the previous block is mined. This is a quite radical change of the paradigm. Okay. On its face, when I read this, and I'm just going to stay at this and I want to hear what you guys think. This kind of scares me a little bit. Okay. Bitcoin mining has been efficient and has, the network has been up and running for 14 years now. We have not had downtime. We see and hear all of this stuff about AI and how it's going to disrupt all of these industries. Could this be a problem? I want to throw out there and kind of hear what you guys think. Could this actually be a problem and not a good thing? Because Crusader, the first thing I thought was, man, if we can get 260% better, better returns, I mean, we're about to be doing a serious amount of mining. Let's get it. But you already know, as I do, if there's 260% chance of returns or more, a lot of people are going to start using this, and then they're going to be competing with each other, and then. So I'll start with you, Crusader. What are your initial thoughts when you hear this?
Yeah, dude, just quickly, I want to say giant shout out to Crypto Billy with the super chat. Says breaking news: Miguel quietly buys XRP all out. Hashtag givers gain.
Really?
Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Greatly appreciated. Love seeing you in here. And no, I don't buy XRP. But when it comes to the AI thing, I think it's the same thing we've been talking about for a long time. It is going to disrupt absolutely every industry, one way or another. And it goes back to what we've said before as well, which is if you're not using it, will you be able to compete, right? If this becomes a true thing where AI can predict the future blocks and start becoming more efficient at mining and making a lot more money because you're using AI so you'll be able to use less machines, which saves you capital, and pay for this AI system to be able to predict and get in and out, or whatever it is the prediction needs to be happening for the block to be rewarded to it, then it comes to a point where now everyone needs to start using this AI, and whoever has the most efficient AI becomes the most competitive and the most profitable mining operation. So it's one of these things where it's good because it might save people investing money when it comes to building out these massive rigs, these massive farms for mining. It's always going to be better some way. Obviously, the difficulty for Bitcoin is going to be, I don't know how the difficulty is going to be hashed after that to be able to anticipate this level of AI jumping in. But it becomes a thing where it's a necessary evil. It's like once you let the genie out of the bottle, right, and this thing becomes legitimate, you have to use it to become competitive. If not, you have no competitive edge.
Randy, what are your thoughts?
I have thoughts. I think Bitcoin is very efficient at what it does. And I think that, of course, if the difficulty or their challenges rise, then the network will kind of arise to that. It always has that check and balance about it, which I like. So I'm not really worried about Bitcoin. And I think that a lot of the quantum computing worries, I think, is just a lot of fun, in my opinion. But I think obviously, I'm not the most, I guess, I can't really articulate the best way with mining. I'm not deep into that rabbit hole. You guys obviously know way more than I do. But I do want to just say that Bitcoin has gone down twice. So we're not 100% uptime with Bitcoin. The longest running blockchain with no downtime is actually Litecoin.
When did Bitcoin have downtime?
2010 and 2013. I actually pulled up an article
early on in the beginning.
Share.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
Can I screen share on here?
Yeah. The little screen share thing right in the middle.
Back then.
Right here.
Yep.
And it explains it too. I always pull up this website But yeah, 2010, 2013, this was the overflow. So basically they created like fake Bitcoin. That's basically what happened here. And then, yeah, oh, that was 2013. They created new Bitcoins. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was 2013, then 2010.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Good call.
Yeah, so that's why I talk about Litecoin a lot on my channel too. It's the longest running blockchain with no downtime. It's more efficient than Bitcoin at what it does, which is crazy.
Litecoin is cheaper. I've been saying it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, proof of work. I like proof of work. That's why I talk about on the low, like I not even on the low. I talk about all the time. Digibyte too, proof of work, efficient money, sound money. That's what
Yeah.
Litecoin is.
I mean, at the end of the
Digibyte,
day,
Bitcoin.
at the end of the day, you are taking, oh boy, I can't do it again. What the heck is going on here, dude? Can't flip the screens again. I didn't do anything this time. I'm telling you right now. And there it goes. Okay. I have no idea what you're doing, what kind of magic voodoo you're doing over there, Crusader, but appreciate you. I think that you're ultimately using energy, which has value, which you are spending money on to create something. It's not just, you know, out of thin air. And I think people can't appreciate that. It also makes people there's basically a barrier to entry. And that's one of the things that's been tough for a lot of people in the Bitcoin mining space. The miners are expensive. And just running a couple machines in your house isn't doing it anymore. Like, you have to actually scale up. You've got to really put some capital into it. So, and then taking one step further, energy costs, just like everything else, you know, over here in the US and really across the world, are just absolutely insane. So now, on top of the fact that you have to spend a bunch for that, you have to spend a bunch on infrastructure. Now you also have to find a spot where you can get energy consumption at a really low rate. So it makes it very kind of a big barrier to entry. So I did want to read this real quick just to explain, in case anybody was curious. There's just one part I wanted to read on this. The process of solving complex mathematical problems to add a new block of transactions to the Bitcoin blockchain faces the constraint that each new block cannot be attempted until the current one is completed. That's how it works, right? This method, for which QBT submitted the patent in July of this year, breaks this sequential barrier. It allows miners to perform preliminary calculations for the next block even before the current one is fully processed, reducing the need for computational resources and energy costs. So on its face, if that indeed is what it is doing, I'm going to guess that, like Crusader was saying, everybody's going to use it. It will just bring that level down, and everybody will be kind of on the same playing field at that point. If they're able to take out some of the energy costs, okay, cool. Now maybe it gets a little bit cheaper for everyone, and it probably won't change things much. But it's an interesting conversation to have. We will definitely be keeping an eye on it. Chat, if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like. Hopefully everybody's doing well on this Sunday. Yeah, let's move it on. Let's check out what Coinbase is doing. I have no idea, and one of you is going to have to explain to me if you think that Tether is a security here. Hold on a second. Coinbase suspends Tether trading in Canada, none other than Canada. Next to California. The company is also suspending trading for DAI and RAI, claiming they no longer meet listing standards. So it was announced that they will suspend for 3 popular stablecoins in Canada shortly after boasting of its full entry in the Canadian market, including trading the biggest stablecoin in the world, Tether. In an email to customers on Monday, the company said that USDT, RAI, and DAI do not meet the company's listing standards based on its most recent reviews. It said the trading suspension will not affect their access to the stablecoin wallets, which will remain available for deposit and withdrawal functionality after the trading suspension. The suspension will take effect on August 31st. It said, though the company didn't go into detail, its action mirrors that of rival exchange Crypto.com, who canceled Canadian USDT support in January in response to instructions from the Ontario Securities Commission. Without me going further into this article, I can tell you I read it. They are suggesting that the Ontario Securities Commission is saying that these stable coins classify as securities. Now, if you know what a security is, you are effectively bringing money together from multiple different parties with the expectation of making profit. Okay, a stable coin, Crusader and I were talking about this earlier. The only way that I can come up with, just flat on its face, to make money on a stable coin is arbitrage. And what I mean by that is, let's say, and you'd have to have a large amount of capital to do this. Let's say you took about $1 million of USDC it dropped to 99 cents. And then it, boom, hits back up to $1 and you sell it. You made 10 grand. albeit you had to have $1 million sitting there to do so. You know, that's an arbitrage opportunity. But other than that, Randy, how is this going to get construed as a freaking stable coin, or is this all part of the, you know, narrative just to slow things down in the crypto space?
I love our FUD. I love our narratives. It's so funny because it's just like you could look back to BUSD, top 3 stablecoin issued by Paxos, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're asking Gary Gensler, is ETH a security? Is it a commodity? Whoa, what happens now? BUSD stopped minting by Paxos. Now Paxos is now issuing PayPal's stablecoin that's, wait, what? Issued on maybe a potential security because the SEC didn't confirm it's built on Ethereum, and that's allowed to go and it's fully regulated. Meanwhile, BUSD is the same thing as a stablecoin. FUD, FUD, FUD. They want to prevent you from doing anything you want to do because they want to bring in their own digital dollars. They want to bring in their own digital stable coins that are under their control. So it's just FUD. Even in Coinbase in the US, we don't get any of those stable coins. We only get USDC because it's what they like here. So, and Circle gets their way. So I don't know. I just think it's all FUD. Don't listen to it. Do what you got to do.
I want to take a brief pause here real quick. Hey, thank you very much, Retro Mike Tech. Super chat, $19.99. We really appreciate the support. No context to it. Must just love, you know, the show. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He's a miner. He's
a miner.
He's a miner. Definitely a miner.
A miner as in like you, like MINOR or MIN?
No. Like, yeah, I love my miners. So he's one of them. And I think that you guys are so important because you guys are what is laying the groundwork for us to say we're in a decentralized financial ecosystem that gives us hope. So
yeah. No, thank you very much, Retro Mike. We appreciate you. Crusader, what are your thoughts on this? The whole stablecoin narrative versus securities versus whatever they want to throw on it.
Yeah, man, I think it's the same old excuse for control, right? Like Randy was alluding to with the different countries wanting their different stable coins, whether it's going to be a stable coin or a CBDC, right? Whatever it is, we're seeing the BRIC nations right now make a move where they all want to be doing transactions in their own dollar, right? In their own currency, whatever it is. So I think the stablecoin narrative is going the same direction with different countries wanting their own stablecoin or their own CBDC put on the exchanges so that their citizens that are using these centralized exchanges are on their digital form of dollar or currency to be able to be tracked better, understand which wallets are going where. So it's just a matter of control and narrative. That's what it is. I think this is just an excuse of how they just don't fit the company, right? Coinbase is going to bend the knee to all these countries because they want to be dominant, right? That's why Binance has been having so many issues because they don't always bend the knee to a lot of these different countries' demands, but Coinbase will because they want the business.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that these massive institutions, these massive companies, whether it be in the crypto space, whether it be in the TradFi space, whatever, they are kind of they kind of have a catch-22 where they want to be able to serve their people, but if you really, really look at it, it's the big players who are making the push, the big players who are making the decisions. It's the big players that they do need to actually answer to. So yeah, I totally agree. We're going to talk about CBDCs here in just a couple minutes, actually in relation to XRP as well. So stick around for that. If you haven't already, smash those likes. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. All right, so Coinbase has got something else going on too that I'd like some info on from both of you. Coinbase secures NFA approval to offer crypto futures. The latest price moves in the crypto markets in context for August 16th. Oh, we don't need that. Hold on a second. Here we go. Coinbase has won approval to list crypto futures in the U.S. nearly 2 years after first applying. The National Futures Association granted permission for Coinbase to operate Futures Commission Merchant, the FCM, the exchange announced on Wednesday. The NFA is a self-regulatory organization with the designation from the Federal Derivatives Regulator, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. The approval makes Coinbase the first crypto-focused platform in the U.S. to offer regulated and leveraged crypto futures alongside traditional spot trading, according to the announcement. Let me ask this first. So we all either have or have not traded on maybe one of these sites where you're either supposed to or not supposed to, whether you use a VPN, whether you don't, whatever, not getting into all of that. But do you think, Randy, do you think that Coinbase, we'll use them as the example because this is the article about, are they going to be able to compete with the likes of MEXC, for an example, in terms of their fee. So for an example, and Crusader, you can confirm this, the maker taker fee, or at least the taker fee on FeeMex, is 0.6% or 0.06%, right?
0.06.
0.06%. On MEXC, it's 0.01%. And a lot of these exchanges is like 0.06. So on its face, Randy, do you think that Coinbase is going to try to be competitive with that? Or do they just want to kind of catch the overflow of all the people who don't exactly know because it's the first place that they are and they're trying to putz around? They don't even know what a maker and a taker fee are. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
I like how you said putts around. I'm a fan of that, Keeper. I think they'll just do whatever they want, to be honest. And I think people will just do it, they'll just comply because it's Coinbase. And that they might not know anything else, because when you're looking at all of these other sites, it's another thing you have to sign up for. It's something that maybe isn't as user friendly and looks a little bit more complicated than Coinbase might. So I think, people will Coinbase will do what they want. They're able to do whatever they want. They're basically a monopoly in this country because especially in New York, I basically have nowhere else to trade except for Gemini. Really sad. They'll do whatever they want. I wouldn't be surprised if they charged a 1% fee.
Oh God, that would be absolutely massive. Crusader did a trade recently when he flopped over from one exchange to the other. I won't even name the exchanges just to keep it off the radar. But ultimately, when he told me the fee on it, I was like, good God. And that's why he kind of made a little bit of a move there. Crusader, do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing for the crypto markets, putting effectively leveraged futures on an exchange like Coinbase, where there's a lot of new people?
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous, right? The new people, right? They're always it's part of the crypto university, like CVL told me, right? You're gonna have to get burned to learn. So like if you want to start trading futures and you're just brand new to crypto, right? It's gonna be an expensive lesson you're gonna learn right there. So it's dangerous, but I think it's not gonna be as big of a thing as most people think. Most people are very scared with their own money at first when they jump in, unless they're a complete degen, right? And they will be conservative with their money. They'll probably go lean into dollar cost averaging. There's always going to be the people that want to get rich quick, want to jump in at the hype of the market and, start trading all kinds of craziness, and they're going to lose money. But I don't think that's going to be a majority or nor a number that's significant enough to be worried about. It's good that Coinbase is getting this feature, right? Makes them, just have one more feature that a lot of other exchanges around the world has. Will they be competitive? No, because like Randy was saying, they can just do whatever they want, and people feel so safe in Coinbase, and they don't like to branch out sometimes to other exchanges that they will just comply with the fees. So that's the problem with that situation. And if somebody's going to take trading seriously, they will leave Coinbase when they're not competitive, right? Because just like you were mentioning, I made a trade, made like $100 profit, and the taker's fee was 0.06. And with the way that's calculated is not through how much money you made, it's calculated through how much leverage you used, right? And how much capital that's all entailed. So if you're trading with $69,000 in leverage, right, and you made $100, they take that 0.06 from that 69,000. So my $100 profit turned into like $40 because they took literally $60 from it. And I was like, well, I got to find an exchange that literally does not do that and has a way lower fee, right? That's where the 0.01 or whatever it is, the closer to zero possible, the better. So if people trading seriously, they will leave Coinbase. If people just want to mess around with it, just experiment, they'll linger on Coinbase until they realize they're losing more money when they're profitable than when they're losing.
Yeah, I hope that they don't use this as an opportunity to scare more people out of crypto, like introduce it to people in this kind of backdoor kind of way, and then a lot of new
people, dude, because they're going to then say, stay here on Coinbase, we're safe, right? You don't know what these other exchanges around the world are. You got to be jumping in a VPN. That's scary, right? You got to be doing all this illegal, illicit activity with all these criminals out there, right? Yeah. Don't jump on their platform. They're definitely going to scare people to try
the North Korean hackers will get you anywhere else.
Oh no!
It's always the North Koreans. Those damn North Koreans always stealing everybody's money. I'll tell you what. Smash that like if you haven't already. We're about 45 minutes into the show. We appreciate everybody for being here, having a little Sunday fun day, doing a weekly wrap up. How could we do a weekly wrap up without talking about Crusader's favorite, XRP fam? Put them up. Let's talk about what the SEC just said. They officially acknowledge XRP as a non-security in new court filing. A lot of you have heard, obviously, the back and forth, but the SEC has affirmed that digital assets, including XRP, are not securities. I think this is interesting how they worded this. This says the SEC has affirmed that digital assets, like I guarantee you this is wrong, including XRP, are not securities. The crypto community reacts to the SEC's recognition of XRP not being securities. Meanwhile, they've initiated an interlocutory appeal of the court's ruling. In a significant turn of events, the U.S. SEC has publicly affirmed the non-security status of digital assets, including XRP. This announcement comes as part of the regulatory body's motion to appeal Ripple's victory ruling. Now, there's not a chance that they're actually carte blanche saying, hey, digital assets aren't securities. There's no way. That would have made absolute just crazy news. This is just somebody not actually knowing what they're writing about. It probably got tossed onto their desk and they're like,
a Ripple company just paying fake promotions.
XRP is a digital asset, so they're saying that all digital assets, all of them, every single one of them, none of them are securities. Not a chance. That would have been some crazy good news. But this has been going on back forth. Let me ask you, Randy, why did XRP not just absolutely moon like a lot of people were thinking? And candidly, for anybody that hasn't watched Crusader and I, if you're here from Miss Teen Crypto, again, thank you for being here. But we've got two sides of the coin here. I hold a bunch of XRP, and Crusader literally wouldn't probably take it from me if I gave it to him, or at least he claims. I'm not real sure on that. Depends on how that price gets. I think at a certain point, I think he might take it. But Randy, tell me why you think when this big news came out. I mean, we got a pump. We got a huge pump. But tell me why it didn't just moon. Why did it not go to all-time highs? Why did it not go to $1 even? What are your thoughts?
It didn't go to $1 because I don't think there were enough people involved. But I think it went as high as it did when I think it was, what was it, July 13th? When the initial news came out, it had that pump. That was because people knew beforehand, man. Like, you have big players here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why XRP hasn't retraced like as almost to where it kind of pumped from is because the big players. You have the World Economic Forum boys that love Brad Garlinghouse, that love XRP and love their mission to take away your rights by introducing private ledgers and CBDCs. So yeah, I think it probably didn't go as high as it did, because maybe people are holding it back. They're waiting for the bigger news, but there's a lot of big market makers in here that are way bigger than us. And I don't think retail in crypto, especially with XRP in particular, have the power to make such big moves anymore. I just think there's too big of players in there. I don't trust it.
I even hear, on that note, on that comment, Randy, I've heard a lot of the big time XRP people, Zach Rector, good friend of the channel, love Zach, but he is, all in on XRP, right? I even hear him. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. No doubt. He knows it, right? It's not listen, he could be watching right now. Zach, we love you. You definitely are drinking the XRP Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, even he is talking about how volatile and how wild some of these are going to get. Crusader, do you think that the wild volatility, talking about going from, let's say, I saw a video that he did that was like going to $37 or something, that's kind of a low number in terms of some of the numbers that I've heard out there, but it going to $37. But first it was going to go to all-time highs, back down below $1, up past $10, down past the all-time high, and then to $37. Do you expect some absolute chaos like this because because the world wants XRP so much? I can only imagine what your statement's about to be, but go ahead.
Tell me what Bitcoin is doing at the time, and I'll tell you what XRP is going to do. Right? Okay. That's all that really matters. XRP is just another altcoin, right? And I believe that long-term, Ripple is going to abandon XRP. I think XRP was just a prototype, a way to test the market on what they can do with the technology to then sell the CBDCs to these banks all around the world. And that's their true goal. And that's why they're working with the World Economic Forum. It's not because they're so interested in XRP going to 10,000 and XRP is going to be the thing. But yeah, man, I don't trust XRP. I don't trust Ripple. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are spot on in terms of the idea that they could absolutely do just that. They still do hold half of the freaking supply that they, continue to dump. I mean, it really is on its face. Like, do I hold a bunch of it? Yes. Did I buy a ton of it when I really wasn't so educated on what was happening? Yeah, candidly, for sure. Right. I started drinking the Kool-Aid and just started buying. But my entry is so low at this point, like I'd be crazy to sell anyway. And I'm well in profit at where we're at right now. So at any event, but this is interesting what they are doing. And this is what I don't like. And a lot of you have heard me talk about this. MasterCard forms CBDC partner program with Ripple. Whenever I hear the CBDC, I'm like, wow. MasterCard's new what'd you say? Makes your skin crawl?
Makes your skin crawl,
I know. It does me too. MasterCard's new program aims to bring together the key industry players to explore CBDC innovation. With initial partners, including Ripple, Consensus, and Fireblocks. Global payments giant MasterCard is forming a central bank digital currency program with Ripple blockchain development firm Consensus. MasterCard announced Thursday that it's convening a group of blockchain and payment service providers to participate in the program. The new CBDC program is designed to, quote, foster collaboration with key players in the space. I'm not even going to try that dude's name. What is this going on here? Oh, my God. Is it? Oh, my God.
Ad.
Jesus, and it won't even let me exit out. So we're just going to go ahead and kill that. At any event, they are trying to partner, right, to test out these CBDCs. Is Randy? I know you've got some strong opinions on the CBDCs. Do you believe, first of all, that XRP will be used heavily to kind of make the move towards CBDCs? Do you think it'll be the end all be all? How do you think that's going to play out in the space?
I'm not too sure. I think that we're at a really weird crossroads where countries are building on Ethereum layer 2s. You have some people that are working on XRPL. So I think there's going to be and even XLM. The Ukraine CBDC, they were talking about being on XLM when the war broke out. So there's a lot of news that's coming out. There's a lot of different blockchains that they're experimenting with. It's just like, for me, if I'm supportive of Bitcoin, if I'm supportive of the digital asset space and self-sovereignty, why would I support something or even put money and liquidity in something that literally is working against you? And that's exactly what I feel about central banks. That's how I feel about MasterCard, because they took part in November and New York Federal Reserve pilot program for digital dollars, along with BNY Mellon, a lot of the same banks, same payment processors associated with FedNow. That's now using HBAR, another blockchain, for their distributed ledger technology payments. So it's really all up in the air right now. All I know is that there's a lot of projects I say they're here for you that are working against you. Same thing with the payments, and same thing with MetaMask. MetaMask is what was created by Consensus. So if you really go down that whole rabbit hole, which I could go on for hours, it's just like you supporting MetaMask, who tracks your IP, who it wants you to take part in account abstraction, which is you giving your private keys away. Just like if you were to sign up for a bank account, you might as well do that. Give your private keys to them, do automatic payments, all of these things that are just really unnecessary, because we're in crypto, so we sign our own transactions, so we could actually own our money and not give it all away. So I think Consensus, MetaMask is doing the completely wrong thing. XRP, that was their whole mission from the start. So I can't even say they're doing the wrong thing, because that's technically their good thing. That's their mission. So I don't know. I don't really support any of it. I think it's all garbage to take away your freedom. We have 3 inalienable rights: life, liberty, property, instantly enhanced by Bitcoin, instantly taken from you with a CBDC. So,
I'm clipping that. That's definitely getting clipped right there. Love it. Thank you, Randy, for that hot take.
Gotcha.
Crusader. So MasterCard getting involved with Ripple. Obviously, MasterCard, payments giant. No getting around the fact that they own half the damn world, just like Visa, right? Is this going to push the crypto space anywhere, or is this just going to push us further and further towards the communism that I feel like we're pushing towards as it is?
First, I want to say shout out to Kelly Cullum in the house. What's up, man? I love seeing you here. But my answer to that is, you know what? Bitcoin did more transactions than MasterCard, right? People always talk about how Bitcoin's slow. Yeah, Bitcoin settles more than credit cards like MasterCard. They're making a move, right? They will always push, right? They're all part of the same club, right, to push towards the CBDCs, towards the World Economic Forum, right? We already know these guys, right? I don't understand how people can be in crypto and pro World Economic Forum with XRP. That's the thing that blows my mind every single time. You're here because of freedom, but yet you are saying, well, they're going to do it anyway, so I might as well profit. Well, you know what? How about you just don't ride the bandwagon that's going to eventually end up in, enslaving everybody financially down the line, right? How about you just don't profit off of that? right? People all hate the military industrial complex, right? Well, you're participating in it. Why are you participating in this thing with XRP? XRP does, and Ripple, right? Any altcoin that says, "Hey, I hold 50% of the supply," people are like, "I'm not buying that. I'm not gonna buy that thing.
That's a
That's
fact.
a rug pull."
Yeah, you're right.
Yet somehow everybody trusts Ripple because they are connected with the big boys, the same big boys that are always literally,
Working against
lubricating
you.
and screwing you in the long term. Like, I don't understand why you trust these people, and they always have an excuse why the price isn't at $10,000 just yet, and just keep holding on, keep holding on. It makes no sense to be part of whatever XRP is doing. XRP is going to, like I said, it's going to be abandoned by Ripple, and Ripple's just focusing on CBDC technology and being part of the entire enslavement system with the World Economic Forum. And you guys are literally giving them the capital.
Yeah.
And the Bank for International Settlements that controls 95% of the world's economy. So you can't forget about them. Also, I saw a private live stream. I've aired it on my channel as well, where it was the central banker from France. And it was like all of them that were there, like the famous one, Christine from the ECB. But they were all saying that retail and wholesale CBDCs, they already have the infrastructure for it. So when they put out all these consultation papers, it's actually just sheesh. So you look at all of this, right? They already have the infrastructure, and they already said AI is going to be integrated into CBDCs. So that what that means is that they're going to know what you want to do before you do it, and they will already block your transaction. So it's just like, what are you rooting for here? That's why you have to hedge against that. You have to hedge with freedom against the tyranny.
Yep. I couldn't be with you more on that one. The ultimately the freedom that comes along with Bitcoin comes through that decentralization. And I don't want to see us go down this rabbit hole that is the CBDCs. I unfortunately think that there's no avoiding at this point. We have ultimately crushed our own economy. The world stage is just absolutely pushing towards more and more control. We just heard about they're talking about more lockdowns coming up. I don't know. Don't get me started on all that. We're going to get kicked off YouTube because I'll go nuts. But yeah, they're going to be doing that. And I'm going to tell you at least two people on this show that ain't going to be playing ball. We will not be playing ball with that crap. But at any event, the whole point of the story is Bitcoin can give you that freedom. Crypto is the future. Blockchain technology is that future. Randy, thank you very much for coming on. Any parting thoughts you have for us?
Parting thoughts. We are all going to make it. I'm not saying because it's hopium. It's actually true. We're all going to make it. Money is going digital, guys. It might as well be something that you own, something that you're in control of, and something that's permissionless. So make sure, if you do, keep your crypto off of the exchanges. Take part in that role of being a self-sovereign individual. Lead that way. Educate people. Keep calm. Hoggle on. And as always, stay zesty. Tune into the Daily Zest Monday through Friday, sometimes 9:45 a.m. Make sure you're there with us. Hang out, subscribe, follow me at Miss Teen Crypto everywhere. Thank you again for having me. Literally love you guys. This was a great conversation.
We love you too. We are super happy to have you on. Crypto fam, if you are not already watching us Mondays and Thursdays, we have Around the Charts and Magic Money Monday where we get into altcoins and more Bitcoin-centric stuff. And then Sunday for the weekly wrap-up. Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Check it out. Make sure to hit that bell notification. We love you. You could be anywhere on a Sunday, but you're hanging out with us. Just remember, question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl
like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.